Cotta is the founder and owner of Seasons Coffee, a Sacramento cafe and roastery built on connection, creativity, and community. What began as a coffee-centric lifestyle brand has grown into a full-fledged gathering space for dreamers, artists, and locals alike. With a background in agriculture and journalism, as well as a passion for entrepreneurship, Greg brings a unique blend of strategy and soul to everything he builds. Today, Greg will share how growth isn't just about scaling a business, but how deepening relationships, playing to your strengths, and staying rooted in purpose. Nice intro, Greg. Come on up.
Good morning, everyone. Thank goodness. We're off to a good start. I actually had a whole bit in here about how I don't consider myself very creative, and then the first word of the creed is that everyone's creative. So I was like just sitting here like delete. So anyway, let me say this is supposed to be the part where I introduce myself, talk about me a little bit, but instead I would like to flip the script and start with all of you. I was reflecting on who's in this room today, and I decided to put you into roughly three groups. All right, group one, you're an entrepreneur. Okay, you own your business. Your business is your entity. Creativity is your product. Right? Everybody here is creative. Remember. Two, this is kind of the holy grail, right? You work a 9-to-5 job that satisfies your creativity. Okay, there's a lot of people who strive to have this in their life. A lot of you do. That's a pretty awesome thing, right? Three, this is the unsung hero of Sacramento, where your 9-to-5 is to pay your bills. And after that, whether it's through volunteer work, whether it's through your side hustle, you are going and building and spending extra time creative. In your heart, you think you're splitting it 50-50. In reality, you're doing both. And Sacramento, as a smaller network, we are really dependent on the people who go and do their full-time job. Also, sometimes we're literally dependent on them as entrepreneurs. Like for every entrepreneur in Sacramento, there's like one loyal partner with state benefits, and so like we're all kind of tied to this thing here, right? So anyway, that's what I want to say. The reason why though I'm starting here is my challenge to you is if you are in one of those three things that you own it, because if you think about it. If you are in a full-time creative job and it doesn't feel creative enough and you wish you started your own business, if you're like, oh man, I hate my 9-to-5 so much, I wish I could do this other thing part-time, the part-time, full-time, etc., you're really stunting your ability to grow in your own lane. And so if you think about being where you're supposed to be, that's going to be your best opportunity to grow. Growth starts with gra. So does Greg. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to Creative Mornings. My name is Greg Cotta. I'm the owner of Seasons Coffee. So, here we go. Where are we? So, Seasons Coffee. Has anyone been? Everyone's been. Okay, that's really cool. There used to be 0. I was there. My background goes far beyond Seasons, but Seasons is about 10 years old now. If you own a business, you need to know 2 numbers. 1, the number that makes your business seem really big, and 2, the number that makes your business seem really small, so that whoever you're talking about, you can just kind of pitch it the right way. By my 70,000 transactions is a really boring number. By my ballpark, at the end of 2025, 50,000 individuals will have gone through the cafe this year, and it's like 1,300 square feet. I poke at numbers a lot. That's about the best number I can get. Maybe next year's more, but honestly, it's doing really well. That means there's 10,000 people who can't find it still, but we're working on that. Seasons Coffee is just like any other business, and this is what I believe and what I want to hammer home in terms of your route to growth. Seasons Coffee is built on relationships, all right? Long-term relationships, holding on to them, building those connections. 2, cold calling. At some point, you need to reach out to somebody who has no idea who the hell you are, all right? And you need to do it, and you're gonna get kicked in the teeth, and it's gonna suck, but you have to do it enough times. There's no getting around it, okay? 3, strategic partnerships. You're gonna find somebody who's creative and cool and interesting. They're gonna be good at something you're bad at, and you're gonna be working with them, okay? This is gonna exist in all of your fields. So, Seasons, how did we get here? If you've known me at all, at some point I've tried to sell you coffee. If you've known me for a long time, longer than that, at some point I tried to sell you blueberries. And so it's just kind of always been a thing. We launched as a Coffee of the Month club. Then I had a business partner. Our warehouse is on 19th and Q. It is still a warehouse. I'm still doing stories, but for those who know Sam Rose, Top Stitch Productions is now working out there. We do a lot of collaboration inside the warehouse. It also now looks way cooler than when I painted it. We're gonna get into my poor color choices in a minute. But yeah, so Seasons, we're Coffee of the Month club. So we could sell subscriptions online, ship coffee by the pound nationwide. People subscribed, that was kind of the thing. Then everyone kept pulling on our door in Sacramento, having no idea why the hell we weren't a coffee shop. So I thought, okay, we need to draw attention to ourselves here. We need to do something that's going to get a little more attention, and that's when we came up with our cold brew delivery service. My cold brew is called Bold Crew. Once again, really limited on the creativity here. But then, as I ran around slinging growlers, I eventually made the decision to make a cafe. That cafe ended up taking 4 years to build. 2 years were permits, 2 years were a pandemic, and I spent 4 years talking to everybody I knew about the cafe that was going to exist eventually. Also, back to the colors, you may notice that suddenly we went from craft black and brown to a beautiful, colorful cafe full of retail. I met a woman, a consultant named Amy Bush, who went on to become Amy Cotta. My wife designed the entire cafe. I am not why it's pretty. I know less and less about the retail every single day. That is entirely her mind. So when you're like, oh my God, this is the most cute place, like this is so wonderful, I did not do that. I'm the first to tell you. I love it very much. I'm so proud of it. But as you can see, the brand took a big turn. Even when I looked at my slide this morning, I was like, it's like I took the Notes app and just made the yellow more aggressive. It's probably not the best choice at all. I think these are the colors that tell you a snake is poisonous. This is really not my expertise, putting things up on a screen here. But anyway, I want to use this though to talk about how we got from Greg's alone in a warehouse to 50,000 people, and what my own growth cycle is. And it's 2 steps. One, you find a connector. You find somebody who's already connected to people. You come up with an idea together, and then you turn around and you make a splash. All right, and so we're going to touch on that there. But let's talk about connectors. So if you are in a group project, if you're in a group of friends, to any degree, if you think about it, there's probably one person in the group who introduced you to most of the other group. Okay? If you think about how you worked on a project and there was 5 or 6 people and you met every single one of them individually, congratulations, you're probably a connector. But these are the people you need to find. Okay, so when you're networking and when you're going out there, there are people who are going to connect you to people faster than you could go do it yourself. All right, and you have to meet enough people to find them, and it takes time, it takes searching, and it takes putting yourself out there. Everyone's like, "Oh, it's so lucky, the stars aligned." No, you were active. You were active, and that got you your opportunity. I have a story actually. Sean is here. Sean, his name tag says Groot, but Sean is here, and I was thinking back, all right, when did I meet Sean? Because Sean introduced me to so many people. I was delivering a growler of coffee, this very one. It happened to be to the mom of the guy who took the photo. And it was a law office, and I was standing on the corner. I don't even know if Sean remembers this. I was on the corner, must have been like 7th and Capitol Mall or so. And I'm standing on the street corner, walk sign is on, right? And I'm just kind of there, and a guy walks up to me and goes, "What are you doing?" And I looked down and I was like, "Oh, I have a cold brew delivery service, and there's a law office up here, and hopefully they order more than one growler or whatever, And he goes, "Oh, dude, I thought you were delivering beer." And I was like, "Oh," and at the time, right, Postmates didn't exist, beer delivery didn't exist. He's just like, "Dude, this guy's just out here hustling growlers of beer," and he's like, "I'm gonna meet that guy." And so that moment though was really 2 things. One, a person who's going to come and ask you what you're doing and ask about it. 2, being ready to talk about it. and present yourself and say, this is what I'm doing, this is me, this is I'm here, and put in a corner on that, right? Right. So that was one of my first big connectors, and I look back on I kind of introduced anybody who has ever lived in the Warehouse Artist Loft. I probably met them, and I met them through somebody that Sean introduced me to, right? So I found someone, and then, hey, if I can work with them, turn around, tell everybody what we're doing. Tell everybody what we're doing, right? Find the connector, make a splash, right? There we go. There we go. That's the video that didn't work. Has anybody, here, we got a backup slide. Did anybody see Mid-Fi Mornings at Seasons Coffee? This was kind of niche, right? We got one yes, we got two yes. Thanks, Kev, my guy. So there was an event where a guy named Darren, he owns a company called Midtown Co. Somebody, I bet Sean knows Darren. People know Darren, right? Darren came to me with a pretty completed project. He's like, hey, there's this thing kind of going off. We got DJs going on in cafes. We're gonna play some music, safe and sober event, 10 a.m. on a Saturday. We're gonna like point the speakers out the windows and we're gonna throw a freaking party at 10 a.m. I was like, sick? Say no more. Well, Darren comes in, we have a 30-minute meeting. I sit with him, these two DJs, Rob and Chris, and then the photographer Daniel. All of them are complete professionals, super, super talented, great people. We talked for 30 minutes. It was like, hey, camera here, second camera there, photographer's gonna be running around. Maybe we put the DJ booth set, like rig here. Maybe we do. Anyway, done, right? Then he turns around and tells people. I turn around and tell people. We did 3 events. The first one was chill. It filled up. The second one, there were people spilling out of the cafe to listen to a DJ at 10 a.m. on a Saturday. The third one I didn't even go to, but apparently it was busier and I got noise complaints. So we knew if we did 4, we were gonna break the system. We were like, we got room for 3, 4 is not gonna work here. This is still kind of a school. The ballerinas are gonna be back. We're down the hall from the Sacramento Ballet. We don't need this. So we were like, okay, that's it. But the reason I'm highlighting this is because I didn't do anything, right? Okay, I took a call, and I met with them, 30 minutes. I didn't work in the cafe that day. My manager, Bailey, is terrific. She anchored it. I had 2 baristas lose their voices because they were like yelling over speakers, like trying to get matcha orders in. And so let's now take a step back and see then how did I meet Darren, right? Because I'm not even a connector in this instance. I'm not even the person making the splash. How did it get to the point of self-operating? And I chose this because I didn't do anything. But when I actually connected the dots on it, it ended up being kind of the weirdest story that feels name-droppy. But this is actually how we got here. And this picture in the bottom here is the only picture I posted to social media on a day in 2021. Okay? It's not a very good picture. It's not very interesting. Yellow Brick Group reached out to me. They said, hey, we're doing kind of a small vendor thing. You should come on by. You should set up a booth. I set up the ugliest booth I've ever set up. I literally put coffee bags over because I ran out of tablecloths, and I was using inventory that I was delivering. I was like, whatever, I'll go talk to people. I put myself out there. I got a text message from Morgan Reagan of Deuce and Mo, the podcast. How do I know Deuce and Mo? Cold call. I reached out to them. They had a podcast. It was up and coming. I said, hey, you guys are talking about coffee. What if I bring coffee to you? I then for years just kind of, Deuce Mason has a cold brew addiction. I just fed it, right? That was it. But they reached out to me because Darren at Midtown Co. was selling a t-shirt. A very significant t-shirt. As you can see, head coach of the Sacramento Kings, Doug Christie, is wearing Darren's t-shirt, and it is a depiction of Doug Christie punching Rick Fox in the face, as he famously did as a Sacramento King, 20 years ago. Thank you, yes. This was a big moment for all of us, right? So they saw the picture on social media after seeing my picture, and then Deuce texts Doug Christie. He's like, yo, this t-shirt's out there. And he's like, dude, can you get me that shirt? I need to wear that shirt. And he's worn it like on every Kings-Lakers game ever since, right? So anyway, they stopped by my booth. I'm like, oh, Morgan, oh, Deuce, it's so nice to see you. Like, here's a cold brew. I'm barely even selling anything. Like, we're just chilling today. And then they were like, oh, so we're going to go buy this shirt for Doug Christie, who at the time was like the assistant coach for the Kings. And I thought, that's sick as hell. I should go tell Darren that these guys are buying it for Doug Christie. That's cool, right? That's exciting. And then I go and go and tell him, and then Darren, so this is now 5 years ago. 5 years ago is when I met the guy who did the thing in my cafe 3 months ago. All right, so it takes time to build these relationships, and you have to maintain them. All right, this is essential for any growth. Growth is external. All right, your hustle is internal, but your opportunities to grow are going to be coming from other places. So, all right, so here we are. I'm talking to Darren. I'm meeting him. He's selling cool T-shirts. He's selling way more T-shirts than I am coffee. Like, this is cool. And then we just kept in touch. We ended up doing a small event of like a king swap where it was like, you come into the cafe and it was like a secret Santa with really weird King's merchandise, like a Brian Grant jersey or something like that. So we did some small things, but then now we're up to 2023. At Beam Team Year, as we've been talking, that our one flicker of hope in our entire lives as Kings fans. Anyway, I walk out of the arena and I see Darren with a guy I now know well, Drew, interviewing J.R. de Guzman. Has anybody seen J.R. de Guzman? Did you know he's from Sacramento? He is a traveling comedian. I think he won Last Comic Standing, and he just pretty much sells out every show. He flies in for Kings games sometimes, really low key, like with his girlfriend, and I get to see him. I only know J.R. de Guzman because he was my neighbor in college, right? And so when we were in gospel choir together at UC Davis, and then he kind of went on to have a career. But I was like, oh, they're interviewing JR. And they're like, oh, how do you know JR? I was like, oh, he used to be my neighbor. They're like, that's really weird. And anyway, but then Darren and I built out a relationship for that because I won a t-shirt by answering King's Trivia. And wouldn't you know it, in 2025, we've got DJs filling my cafe. And I didn't do it, right? I guess what I did do, though, was grow. And that's where I want to get into my closing topic on this. Sometimes growth, that external process, it feels like you're growing, but you aren't. You're bloating. You're kind of just taking on more of what you're already doing. You aren't pushing your boundaries. And that's kind of what I was doing. I was a little kicked back, right? It was working, but how much better could it be going if I was actually putting my drive into it, right? It's success, and that's kind of the goal, but now what? I mean, I guess conceptually you can open another cafe, which would be me doing the same thing over and over again, but as I'm short on time, but I'll say that your second cafe needs to be bigger and better than your first, which means that if it doesn't work, it will sink your first. I don't know, it kind of seems spotty. So I took a moment and looked at these things. Where do I fit? How do I grow? Seasons is growing, Seasons is fine. Even today, we had an event at the cafe last night, and so my openers had to take care of some dishes before making today's coffee. We're starting to throttle the space, right? So I thought, what can I do next? And I got a job. So instead of opening a second cafe, I found a 9-to-5 that feeds my soul. And I am so excited, as you can see. I have a desk. It has one plant. My wife gave it to me, the one who designed the cafe, right? I'm very excited to be the bread to the sandwich of this whole situation. Like, I am not the interesting part. I'm enjoying it so much. So let me reintroduce myself. My name is Greg Cotta. I'm a commercial insurance broker for Interwest Insurance. Interwest has offices all over California. I happen to be at the biggest one right here in Sacramento. I am in creative problem solving all day. I am enjoying it oh so much. I was in a meeting about the complications of insuring a logging operation that's accepted money from FEMA, and I was like, this is awesome. I am right exactly where I want to be, and I am happier than I've ever been. So I guess I want to bring it back to that. If you're in these three categories, or if you're in the fourth one where you're deciding which one you're going to be because you're looking for work, pick your lane, commit to it, and then stick with your process, because you don't want to be looking in the other lane. You want to find the one that feeds your soul, or find the one that sets you up to feed your soul, because you're all creative people, and that itch is going to come through. And so, again, very happy to be insurance brokers. Seasons is alive and well, thank goodness to the wonderful staff. They're all better at coffee than I am anyway. If there's deliveries, they're more organized than I ever was, and I am happier in a job than I have been as an entrepreneur. And that's no knock to my company. I love my company so much. So that's what I have today. There's Seasons Coffee as it was and as it is, and thank you very much.